Hello and welcome to Daily Reflection with Aneel Aranha. Today is the 23rd of December 2019. We're going to reflect on Luke 1, 57 to 66. Now the time came for Elizabeth to give birth, and she bore a son. The neighbors and relatives heard that the Lord had shown his great mercy to her, and they rejoiced with her. On the 8th day they came to circumcise the child, and they were going to name him Zechariah after his father. But his mother said, "No, he is to be called John." They said to her, "None of your relatives has this name." Then they began motioning to his father to find out what name he wanted to give him. He asked for a writing tablet and wrote, "His name is John." And all of them were amazed. Immediately Zechariah's mouth was opened and his tongue freed, and he began to speak, praising God. Fear came all over their neighbors, and all these things were talked about throughout the entire hill country of Judea. All who heard them pondered them and said, "What then will this child become? For indeed, the hand of the Lord was with him," the gospel of the Lord. I was in Brazil recently on mission. It's a Portuguese-speaking country, and since my surname Aranha translates as spider in the language, folks started calling me Spider-Man. Well, it doesn't hurt to be named after a superhero, especially a web slinger, because in a way I was spinning webs, albeit for God. And by the end of the mission, there were a few thousand coordinates, so that was pretty good going, I thought. Now, why am I talking about this? Because names are important in Scripture. God sometimes changed the name of a person. Abram became Abraham, Sarai became Sarah, and Jacob became Israel. At other times, God named the child before they were born, as in the case of both Jesus and John. But what is curious about John is the attention given to the naming of the child. The angel tells Zechariah to name him John, and then when the baby is born, the entire family argues about his name. There were so many things Luke could have spoken about John. Why this? Now, there are a few reasons I can think of, and it may be nice to reflect upon them today. One, Zechariah was a priest, and naming a child after the father implied that he would succeed him in his profession. Two, the name of a child might not seem like a big deal, but it is, and perhaps we should take a little more care when we name our kids. Some of the names we give our children are terrible. Three, obedience to God is very important, even in small things, and both Elizabeth and her husband were obedient about this. Four, opposition should not daunt us from sticking to our guns. Their relatives raised an outcry about the choice of name, but the parents were very firm about what they wanted. For some reason, people always believe they know better than us and seem determined we do as they say. If we are close to God, we should always heed His voice and not give in to pressure. The people would not have liked it. Elizabeth's neighbors and relatives did not like that their choice was vetoed so firmly by the couple, and probably would have left in a huff. But then something amazing happened. Zechariah, who had been struck dumb since he met the angel, started to talk. Scripture says that fear came over all the neighbors, and all of them pondered, "What then will this child become?" They would soon find out. So, what's in a name? Plenty, as it turned out. Click below to subscribe before you go, says God's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. God bless you.